Welcome to this breakout session, which is focused on increasing parents' awareness of children's mental health services. My name is Cheryl Holm-Hansen, and I provide research and evaluation support to the collaborative. In this brief video, I will share some brief highlights from two recent collaborative projects. The first is the Journey Mapping Project, referenced in the opening session today. In the opening session, we provided a brief introduction to the interviews conducted with parents entering the children's mental health system. Almost every one of the 49 parents interviewed highlighted how difficult it was for them to learn about the children's mental health system and to find potential services for their child. Once parents recognize that their child may be experiencing a mental health concern, they begin looking for information about what they can do to help. These quotes highlight some of the typical ways that parents described embarking on this search for services. Some parents were able to get help from other parents, and a few had support from professional navigators. Most, however, tried to get started on their own by searching online. Some parents would follow up with agencies that they first found online, but these agencies were not always responsive. Many parents described investing significant time and resources into looking for services, but still found it difficult to find any. If they were new to children's mental health, their research was complicated by the fact that many parents did not know what exactly to look for, or what questions to ask, or what words to use when searching. Already feeling uncertain about where to get started, parents wanted to find centralized sources of information where they could see the full array of available services and find the right match for their child. These quotes capture some of the ways that parents talked about their experience. Parents frequently talked about feeling lost and unsupported as they tried to find services. Cultural background plays a powerful role in shaping perceptions of mental health services and access to information about these services. Research has found significant disparities in awareness of children's mental health services. The causes of these disparities are complex and multifaceted, and there is no one reason for these inequities. There are a few common barriers that emerge in the research, however. First, when parents are recommended for mental health services, they may be directed only to Western mental health approaches, which may not resonate with their cultural values. It may be even harder for them to find culturally based services. Second, families may be impacted by experiences of racism and discrimination. They may not feel comfortable seeking services from some systems or providers like government-funded programs. All families fear finding the wrong service for their child, but this fear and anxiety can be stronger when parents also need to worry about exposing their child to bias, discrimination, and racism that occurs too often in service delivery systems. Third, there can be a lack of linguistically and culturally translated materials. Not only are general informational websites about children's mental health frequently not translated, but individual service providers usually do not translate information into other languages, creating additional barriers to learning about services. Finally, some families have advantages when seeking services, such as flexibility to take time off from work or professional connections that can help them. While this may not relate to cultural background exactly, we do know that BIPOC families tend to be overrepresented among families in poverty, which may limit the time and flexibility that they have to do the research required to find services. As part of the interviews, parents shared their top recommendations for strengthening the children's mental health system of care. As illustrated by these quotes, increasing access to information about mental health and available services was a top recommendation for many parents. The other effort that we want to share today is some of the work that we've been doing to create a resource to guide parents through identifying the range of mental health supports and services available for Hennepin County children and youth. This service continuum mapping project is meant to be an online resource with information to help parents and caregivers better understand the range of services that are available and how to access those services. The goal is not to provide links to specific service providers, but to offer some guidance for how to find the right type of service. The continuum map includes some general definition and then walks through some things that can determine the right kinds of services, such as level of need, the child's diagnosis, and the type of insurance. After that, the map presents some yes/no questions to help narrow down the right categories of services to meet the child's needs. Sample yes/no questions include, do you have an immediate crisis or safety concern? Or have they been diagnosed with a mental health issue? Depending on the responses to these yes/no questions, the parent will be directed towards specific service types that might be appropriate. Services include a broad range from preventative services through diagnosis services to crisis interventions. For each service type, the continuum map will provide general information about service goals, eligibility, and cost. Parents will also receive information about how they might be able to access those services. For the remainder of this breakout session, we will be asking you for your input about ways that we can use the continuum mapping work or other strategies to make it easier for parents to learn about mental health services. Thank you.